Hi, welcome back to Interview with a Bothan. Inside you are two Bothans, Lou and Lenny, and either way, you'll make the wrong decision. I'm one of your hosts, Lou.
I am Lenny.
And today we're going to be talking about Dark Force Rising, the second installment of the Thrawn Trilogy. As last time, and probably as in the future, spoilers ahead, we will try to keep material we have not covered to a minimum, but no promises. Dark Force Rising was originally published in May 1992 by Timothy Zahn through Bantam Spectra, who obviously produced and published most of the Star Wars EU novels in the 90s, but you know, it is what it is. Just gonna say that every time.
This book opens with Thrawn's forces attacking Talon Card's settlement at Mercure, which he's already abandoned because he knows that he's on the wrong side of Thrawn's good graces at this point, because he let Luke Skywalker get away. It's clear from this attack that Thrawn no longer accepts Card as a neutral player in the war between the Empire and the New Republic. This is disruptive to Card's operations, so he discusses with Mara the idea of leveraging his knowledge of the whereabouts of the legendary missing Katana fleet, which is colloquially known as the Dark Force, and has some 200 dreadnought ships, slave-rigged together, and it went missing many years ago. Luke, Han, and Lando are on Coruscant, licking their wounds after the Pyrrhic victory at Sluis Van, and reunite with Leia, who has just escaped a Noghri attack on Kashyyyk, the Wookiee homeworld. Han is questioned by the Provisional Council about his role at Sluis Van, and Leia and Han meet with Akbar after this questioning, and Akbar is on house arrest. With Akbar, they discuss the state of the New Republic and the accusations levied against him. Of particular concern is the apparent leak in the highest circles of the New Republic intelligence, known only as Delta Source. Han, Luke, and Lando run off looking to find ways to clear Akbar, and Leia must meet with her Noghri contact, Kabarach, who has consented to bring her to his homeworld to have a diplomatic meeting with his people. On their mission, Han and Lando get separated from Luke during an Imperial raid. Han and Lando are carried off with some mysterious kidnappers who turn out to be aides to Corellian Senator Garm Iblis, the presumed dead daddy of the rebellion. Lando figures out that some of Iblis's ships are from the Katana fleet, and they learn about Iblis's reasons for leaving the New Republic, but they want to get him back into the fold of the New Republic because he is a force of nature. Luke goes off to Jomark to find Jorus, the mad Jedi who has consented to help Thrawn rebuild the Empire, with the condition that that he gets new Jedi acolytes. But
Leia et al.
Luke, Leia et al., yes. Not knowing that the cloned Jedi Master is, in fact, quite evil. Kabarach rendezvous with Leia and Chewie on Endor and brings the two of them to his home planet, Honoghr. Thrawn happens to be patrolling the Noghri homeworld at this time and is suspicious that the last surviving commando from the Kashyyyk raid has taken a month to return home after being AWOL. Because of this discrepancy, Thrawn increases surveillance on Kabarach's clan, which sours the Noghri settlement against Leia, 3PO, and Chewie further. Although the clan leader recognizes Leia as the daughter of Vader, and to whom they had loyalties previously, they are resistant to shifting loyalties from the Empire to the New Republic, lest this bring more calamity to the Noghri. Their planet has been suffering environmental devastation from what they remember as a rebel ship making a devastating crash landing onto their planet. It is only when Leia discovers that the Empire has in fact purposefully been keeping the Noghri on the brink of starvation that Noghri allegiances shift, albeit secretly, for fear of swift retribution. Meanwhile, Mara Jade tries to trade info about the Katana fleet for the lifting of the death mark from Card's crew of smugglers, but Thrawn decides to just kidnap Card instead. So, learning this, Mara realizes that the only man in the galaxy who would help her on such a dangerous quest as rescuing Talon Card from the claws of Grand Admiral Thrawn is none other than Luke Skywalker. And when she learns that he is on Jomark with Jerus Saibioth, she goes on over there, but first must battle with Jerus. But she brings with her a force-repellent Ysalamiri, so it's fine. But kinda grim that Luke meets someone who is very experienced in the Force, but is just super evil. And Luke, of course, agrees to help Mara rescue Card, and their rescue mission is a success, and they find out that Card had not yet revealed the location of the Dark Force to the Imperials. However, another man, Captain Hoffner, knows about the Katana fleet. Han and Lando endeavor to track him down before Thrawn does, but are unsuccessful. So now it is a race to see who will get to the Katana fleet first, and despite the urgency of this matter, the New Republic bureaucracy is not entirely convinced about Card's intel. So Han and everyone just say fuck it and gather Rogue Squadron and head over to the whereabouts of the Katana fleet. However, most of the ships have already been taken by Thrawn because Captain Hoffner had already revealed the intel to him. The New Republic follows Han et al. And places them under arrest for disobeying orders, as many in the military have sided with Borsk-Phalia's perspective in military matters. However, when Borsk-Phalia is overheard saying some insane shit about how soldiers' only purpose is to die for the glory of politicians, this swiftly costs him his credibility, and the New Republic starts intervening on the side of Han and Luke. And
Wedge.
Yeah, well, Wedge was already doing that because he.
Well, yeah, but
like,
you're right. Yeah.
Wedge Antilles doesn't give a fuck what the New Republic thinks. He's Wedge Antilles.
Fucking love Wedge Antilles, okay?
Yeah, me too. Mara Jade also shows up to help and nearly dies in the attempt. Luke saves her life, much to her chagrin, and we find out that among the dead Imperial forces are cloned soldiers. Luke and Han have a bad feeling about this.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
You got the Katana fleet, clones, Joros Sabioth.
Jarus. Yeah, so how do you feel about this book in comparison to the last book? Because we're going to act like you're not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're acting like we're not already reading the canon Thrawn trilogies.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about this book?
Well, I thought, how did I feel about this book?
Yeah, what were your thoughts and feelings? Did you like it better than you liked Heir to the Empire? Did you like Timothy Zahn's copious use of the word sardonically?
I'm preferential to Zahn's copious use of the word murmur.
He does use murmur a lot.
And yeah, I don't know, a lot of the same feelings from the first book. Interesting that Thrawn never ceases to be interesting.
With
it's
his
literally
phrenology.
him. And I don't know, I'm also always entertained by Mara and Luke's dynamic because Mara wants to kill him but keeps needing his help and hates it.
Yeah.
She's like too self-interested to kill him but also hates his ass.
It's like us.
Hey.
I love you, I'm kidding.
I know. I don't know you. Want to kill me? I don't know. What are your thoughts and feelings about this book?
I mean, I love Garm Iblis.
I know you love Garm Iblis.
Fun fact about me, I did read Heir to the Empire, but then I immediately read the A.C. Crispin's Han Solo trilogy, of which subordinates of Garm Iblis are in, one of whom is my favorite Star Wars character.
Yeah.
Bria Theron.
Oh,
yeah. The baddest bitch. Doing a conference presentation about her in October.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be so fun. But, I mean, I liked it. I hate to be the devil's advocate. I find that there was a lot of really insane shit said about Bothans just because Borsk-Phalia is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love Garm Iblis, and I love everything about him, and I like that we get more schizo Mara.
Yeah.
Or psychotic Mara. And I'm talking like in a medical sense. She is hearing voices, and they are instructing her to like either harm herself or others.
Yeah.
Which I find really interesting. Yeah. Overall, I would give it like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I hate giving grades.
That's not a grade.
That's a grade.
Well, in England,
70%.
Well, in the UK, that's an A.
Not here.
No, some places. It's like a 70 or an 83 is an A here.
I know, that's crazy.
Okay, I want to preface this by saying I'm not a Borsk-Phalia apologist. I do think he's a bad person. But the way that people talk about Bothans because of Borsk-Phalia's shittiness... Speaking of Bel Iblis, love of my life, he's like if Saw Gerrera wasn't addicted to Rhydonium.
Yeah, he's the only one with clarity of purpose.
I am in love with Garm Iblis to a concerning degree. Like the way that you're in love with Talon Card. I just love of my life. He's so Saw Gerrera coded. And maybe he's right to distrust Mon Mothma. It's a very interesting dynamic they have.
Yeah, I also think he's right to be suspicious about the government structure of the New Republic.
Yeah, I mean, presumably, he was a senator. I mean, he says he was.
Yeah.
Prior to the fall of the Republic, or the reorganization of the Republic into the Empire, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But what I'm like most interested in, besides the like divorced parent dynamic of Mon Mothma and Bel Iblis, is how Garm Bel Iblis interacts with Han Solo and Lando. Because when they meet, and I want to say it's chapter like 13 or 14, Han is like, oh my god, holy shit, it's Garm Bel Iblis, and he calls him Sir automatically, which I guess kind of, it's like, he specifically says, noting vaguely in passing that there were very few people in the galaxy who rated an automatic Sir from him, which does provide insight into how Han views honor and like meeting this Corellian hero. Although this isn't the first Corellian hero we've met. Most famously, Han Solo is a Corellian hero.
He sure is.
And so is Wedge.
Yeah, but Wedge, I don't think he's set up as famous in this book.
I mean, yeah, but regardless, both Death Star runs.
Yeah.
You know, he was the only guy.
It's true.
Which is crazy if you think about it.
Yeah.
That's so fucked up. Wow, all my friends are dead. It's just me.
And Luke Skywalker, who is weird now that he's in touch and he's one with the universe.
Yeah, he really like did DMT one time.
And
Or
it
did
sh-
shrooms one time.
Did shrooms one time and he learned what empathy was.
And now he's the most annoying motherfucker ever. But like there are more Corellian heroes in the movie. Like Han Solo, regardless of his feelings about joining the Empire, is a hero himself, which is a very interesting dichotomy. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
But then it goes on. Garm Iblis remembers meeting Han Solo in school at the age of 11, which implies that Corellia has compulsory education.
Yeah.
Which is something you're just like not exposed to before this, I don't think.
You're also exposed to the fact that there are textbooks in Corellian education, which makes sense, but they're like Han reminisces about reading about or seeing him pictures of Garm in school and stuff.
Well, and I think and my little comment on that is like, you're such a fuck-ass little kid. Like Han Solo at this point, he was born in 28 BBY? Question mark? Yes, I think that's correct. This is 9 ABY. This man that's a long fucking time.
Yeah.
That this man is like, I remember you.
Yeah. Well, because
you were that fuck-ass kid from that lecture I gave.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be kind of memorable if, like, you go to a room of 10-year-olds and then one of them gets up there and is like, what about your anti-alien racism, sir?
And that's the thing is, like, you know, the quote itself is, as I said, and this is Bel Iblis speaking, I didn't expect you to, like, remember him. I, on the other hand, remember the incident quite well. During the question period after the talk, you asked two irreverently phrased yet highly pointed questions. The first regarding anti-alien bias, starting to creep into the legal structure of the Republic, and the second about very specific instances of corruption involving my colleagues, which is...
I would remember that.
I would remember that. I mean, and, like, there are students I remember.
Of course.
Who I won't mention.
Yeah, but sometimes... students say off-the-wall things that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
I don't remember my name, though. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, no,
I'm
not gonna keep... No, I don't keep track of them.
Han Solo being a disrespectful child, like, is on brand for his characterization. Does imply that he never grows up. Is that he kind of just has kept the same, like, defiant attitude. But, like, asking these questions in a school setting and then presumably being reprimanded for it, from the way the conversation goes, like, highlights what compulsory education looks like on Corellia, which is very similar to Western style education. There is a curriculum, nobody's immune to propaganda, everything's propaganda, but it does seem like anti-alien bias is frowned upon in this context. Is that something that's common among, like, Alderaanian compulsory education? I don't know if they have school on Tatooine, but if they do, can Luke read? Who knows?
No one knows.
No one knows. Maybe he can. Yeah. I don't know. He's looking at Jedi texts, maybe.
But it is interesting to think about whether compulsory education is standardized across the galaxy. Is it Corellia specific that discussing anti-alien bias is frowned upon, or was that just reflective of the creeping anti-alien biases into the Republic at the time?
I mean, I think maybe it would be less common to discuss anti-alien bias on planets that have less non-human sentience. Just because it's kind of that, like...
We can talk about this in theory because it doesn't impact us in practice.
Yeah. Where in, like, the Corellian system, you have Corellians, you have Solonians, and you have the Drawl, which we're not supposed to know yet, but whatever. So, like, you very actively are interacting with, presumably, unless they have different schools, like, unless this is, like, a Jim Crow situation.
I mean, maybe he went to a particularly fuck-ass high school. I would know something about that.
But this also does highlight differences between pre- and post-prequel understandings of how the Empire was formed and, like, the Clone Wars or Clone War. Obviously, the prequels have this grandiose establishment in film fashion. We're trying out all the new computer-generated stuff we can in 18 BBY. Is this before or after this lecture? We don't know. But how would this be disseminated to people of all ages? Would this have made it into compulsory school systems?
Yeah. Well,
which I would say implies that there aren't standardization galaxy-wide.
Why?
Because presumably on Coruscant you would know, or at least in, like, the upper echelons of Coruscanti society.
Yeah. And so because to, like, mid-rim or outer rim worlds you would have to tailor education to...
Well, it would just take a minute.
Yeah.
If there's education on Tatooine, they might not have money for the updated holopads.
Yeah.
In the same way that, I don't know, did you ever buy your textbooks at the end of the year?
No.
Well, I guess you're younger than me. So a lot of the curriculum, at least in Ohio, was changing as I went through school. Every year at the end of the year, they'd be like, we're getting rid of these. We got new textbooks for next year.
Yippee.
They're updated, so they would, like, sell them to us for really cheap. Be like 50 cents.
Cool.
How quickly is propaganda disseminated in school? I mean, curriculums vary, even in Canada and the United States.
Yeah.
It's what I learned as a child, very different from, I don't know, the Great Molasses Flood of whenever that was.
I don't know when it was.
I don't either, but there was molasses, I know that much. Or, like,
But all of it.
How in Texas they have some really weird opinions about indigenous people in their textbooks, or slavery.
Or that they teach that the Civil War was fought over states' rights, but don't specify which...
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
But it's the states' rights to own slaves.
Yeah. Which I think one should specify in discussing the Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is a state, at the time, it's not anymore, slavery outlawed, except for as punishment for a crime. Yes. Which is why there's private prisons. This is obviously in the United States, not Canada. Canada's education does differ, but...
Well, yeah, they call the 7 Years War, which is the one that we call the French and Indian War?
It's the 7 Years War. They say it's like a theater, and then they're like, the 7 Years War was the First World War, which, like, get fucked.
Yeah, you just want to be included.
I was reading a couple things about, like, reading curriculums in the United States recently, and how, like, kids aren't reading full books in school anymore because of the curriculums that are being sold don't include books because it makes them more expensive. And, like,
For those listening, I'm blinking rapidly.
I don't remember exactly what they're called. It was a Substack article. If I find it, I'll put it in the show notes. And it's this thing, like, kids aren't reading books, and these are really popular because they're cheaper, so school systems purchase them, and then it's like you're in grade 7 or 7th grade or whatever, Sec 1, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're just not, whereas, you know, when I was in 7th grade, I think we read 6 or 7 books.
I have no idea how many books we read, but it was...
But you went to fancy school.
I did go to
so
fancy
probably
school.
a lot.
Yeah.
But like 70%, from what I read, like 70% of elementary schools are using a curriculum like that.
Wow.
Where they're reading passages. They're not reading the whole book. They have passages from whole books in the curriculum, which is why they can't do like extended reading.
This certainly
It's a hellscape.
doesn't bode well for media literacy or critical thinking.
No, it does not.
Or the ability to sit through reading a book.
Yeah, they couldn't sit down and read this. How long is Dark Horse? 6 decades free. Okay. What new adventures are coming from Lucasfilm? Oh, you don't get a Timothy Zahn picture in this one? That's sad. 439. So yeah, no, they would not be able to sit down and read 439 pages.
Well, good. They can just listen to our podcast about it.
I know. You know, it's hard enough to... India's got really different ones as well. I think China's a little more standardized, but their school system functions incredibly differently from what we are used to. And they go to school a little longer, I think, before university. But yeah, it's hard enough to have standardized curriculums when there's 300 million people.
Yeah.
Let alone 300 trillion people. And a lot of them are not human. Like, that's the other thing, is you might have to tailor certain aspects of your curriculum. But also, like, Corellia likes to be independent.
Yeah.
Does that mean that even if there is a more, like, standardized...
Galaxy-wide curriculum?
Would they abide by it?
Yeah, probably not.
Because they want to be cool and different and not like other girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like their whole thing. That's what Garm Iblis is literally doing.
Yeah.
He's like, please don't make me grovel to my ex-wife.
Yeah.
Pretty please.
But, I don't know, an overhaul of textbooks is a big part of successful propaganda and nation building.
But we're talking like the year it happened.
Yeah, so it wouldn't happen that fast.
No. Or the year after.
So it wouldn't be like in the textbooks that anti-human and anti-alien bias would be reflected. It would just, I guess it would just be enforced by the fact that...
Crix-Medine, also Corellian.
Oh.
Also, just so we note this, Corellia is a core world. And it's like one of the OG, like, founders of the Republic after. I know that. I don't know where I know that from. It might just be from me reading things.
Okay. OG founders of the Republic after the
like,
Empire?
No.
Or
like
after the...
Either 1,000 years or generations ago.
Okay.
It's like Corellia, Alderaan, and Chandrila, I think.
Yeah.
I can tell you, actually. Their rotation period is 25 standard hours.
Wow. Where's the sun for them? I guess that's how different things work.
I ain't that kind of movie, kid.
Yeah.
Early history. Homeworld of natives known for their wanderlust. Why does Wikipedia make everything sound so 19th century anthropologist?
Because
this is the canon page.
Boo hiss.
There's 2 moons in the Corsac Academy. Okay, Corellia was the first planet of the star Corel, like Foundation Corel, in the Corellian system of the Corellian sector.
Corellia.
They're really that guy.
Yeah.
The entire sector is named after them.
They found a good word and they stuck with it.
Considered to be one of the inner worlds of the core, it's located at the intersection of the Corellian run and the Corellian trade spine. It was one of the 5 brothers. Corellia is the elder brother. It is the administrative sector. I don't want to out myself as someone who doesn't understand kilometers, but that does not seem like a large world.
I believe you.
11,000 kilometer diameter? How big is the Earth?
Great question.
The Corellian sand panther.
The Earth's diameter is 12,000 756 kilometers. So it's just slightly smaller.
Yeah, but a kilometer is pretty fucking big.
Yeah.
So I feel like the difference between 11,000 and 12 and some change is kind of big.
Yeah. Also, then it's weird that their rotation is 24 standard hours.
25 standard.
25 standard hours. Like, because if it was smaller than Earth, I guess maybe it doesn't, not every planet rotates at the same speed.
It ain't that kind of movie, kid.
But if it's smaller, then shouldn't it rotate faster?
They were invaded by the Sith Empire. This does not have the answer I wanted. They reverse engineered the hyperdrive without the Force tools. And then, okay, the reinvention of the hyperdrive circa 25,053 BBY.
Yeah.
So this is very long. This is even longer ago.
So the history of Corellia is quite long, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Let the aforementioned and the other worlds become the core founders of the Galactic Republic. So, yeah. They were a political power by 25,000 BBY.
Cool.
So it's been a hot fucking minute. Like, they're that guy.
Yeah. I don't
So you
remember
think
what I
they
was
would
saying.
be, like, pretty quickly propagandized. But it does seem like everybody uses Empire and Republic simultaneously.
To refer to the government at that time?
Yeah. But on that note, he's still having this conversation with Garm Iblis, right? And he's like, you probably weren't very impressed by what you saw, because Han, I guess, was a dickhead. He just kept being a dickhead.
Yeah.
Until he got married. Started just being a dickhead to his wife, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Corellians and Alderaanians that get married. I think it's just them.
Yeah.
Well, because I was like, oh, Tycho and Winter, but they're both Alderaanian.
Yeah.
But then Bel Iblis was like, yeah, I was kind of really disappointed when you got dismissed from the Imperial Academy, which I think is the first mention in novel form that Han Solo was, in fact, in the Imperial military.
Yeah.
And also did get dishonorably discharged from the Navy. And it shows how both Han and Bel Iblis became disillusioned with Imperial systems. And then I literally have a note that says, referring to the state apparatus as both Empire and Republic. So a lot of these things seem very foundation coded.
Yeah. But I feel like it's worth noting that him getting dismissed from the Imperial Academy, which is when they call it, like, I don't know. It says the Republic had still left after the collapse towards the Empire. I feel like the conflation of the Empire and the Republic was more so happening around when the Republic was being rearranged into the Empire, rather than once the Empire was fully...
Garm Bel Iblis is actively doing it. Sorry, I'm trying to find this thing. I think it's the beginning of this one.
But in the quote that you have, he's not actively doing that.
No, so all of these quotes are from the same conversation.
Yeah.
So
No,
he
but
does
he's-
it like 3 lines before.
But when he's saying, okay,
Is, you'd shown considerable promise there, and I felt at the time a strongly loyal officer corps was one of the few defenses the Republic still had left against the collapse towards Empire.
okay.
Also, Han Solo, formal, and... So, is he an officer? Is he dismissed from the Academy?
Okay, you're right, I can't read.
And it does say specifically Empire in the way that Asimov uses Empire.
I haven't read Foundation.
Empire's a guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well that makes sense.
Yeah, which
Okay.
everything is Lawrence of Arabia, except Foundation,
Which is
Metropolis in space.
Yeah.
What's really funny about this is just that Bel Iblis kept tabs on this fuck-ass little kid.
Yeah.
So presumably he does know about Han's involvement with Leia. How well do like Leia and Garm know each other? If he knew her father, like would it be normal to assume that he like also watched her grow up?
Probably,
Is he just like stalking these two people? Is he just like, oh yes, my plan has finally come to fruition.
Yes.
Just to get Leia to marry this fuck-ass little kid I saw when he was 11.
I mean, she was probably a quite outspoken child.
Yeah, presumably.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to talk about her until after the prequels came out, so like in between. It was
Leia?
Yeah, it was against the rules.
It was against the rules to talk about Leia before the prequels came out?
Mhm.
I don't understand what you mean by that because Leia is in this book.
No, I meant like pre-Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a rule. Was it a written rule? I don't know. George Lucas didn't want anybody touching the Skywalkers before
Okay.
Star Wars, like A New Hope,
That makes sense.
until he did his prequels.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah, which is why in like early '99 you just get a shit ton of books.
Ah.
Yeah, and that's why you get all the Clone Wars stuff.
Ah.
Yeah, that's why there's like everyone's like tiptoeing around what the Clone Wars are
Mm-hmm.
for the entire 10 years that this shit is running.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. They're
'Cause-
like there were wars and there was clones.
We don't know when they were or who they were between, but there's this crazy guy who's a clone.
Yeah.
How'd he get here? Maybe he was in the war. Maybe not.
Ooh.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I
But I
feel
don't
like
know.
all I have to say about him and Mon Mothma is they're so divorced and it's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing. That's such a small thing to say. I feel like it should
Yeah.
go with the other thing about him.
Well, I mean, Lando was also convinced that Garm Bel Iblis, given his thoughts and feelings about Mon Mothma, is like being manipulated by the Bothans to the point where like Bel Iblis is like, this has nothing to do with the Bothans. He said quietly, it's about Mon Mothma, period. Which, insane behavior. Very divorced couple coded.
And he's like, I can't go back unless I'm explicitly asked.
They do talk about the Pellaeon Treaty as well, which is fun and is further explored in those books.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're fun.
Yeah.
They sign it.
That's cool.
In the third one.
Yeah.
And, you know, Bel Iblis is like really concerned about OPSEC.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a PC-Houthi small group.
I don't know what OPSEC is.
Operational security.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, he's so concerned.
Yeah, and he felt like the rebellion had too many far-flung.
Yeah, he literally says, for a while it seemed like every fifth base was being lost to Imperials through sheer sloppiness and security.
Yeah,
which is
he's the only one with the clarity of porpoise.
Of porpoise? He's a dolphin.
He's a dolphin.
He's a dolphin. No, he's so Saw Gerrera coded if Saw Gerrera wasn't addicted to Rhydonium. So, and it's like not really elaborated on in the films, but like this is a really good point. If the person that you don't fuck with is bad at her job being keeping the rebellion from like floundering, right? Why the fuck would you be like, oh yeah, we'll go to Hoth, oh yeah, we'll go to, I don't know, whatever other base, Andor, Lothal,
yeah,
Taparawa, which is the Hutt slave planet, and they're making drugs. Cool. Which is so much more interesting than
Scarif.
Not Scarif. It's pretty similar to Scarif, except it's like a lot bloodier.
Interesting.
It's like they don't bomb the planet; they just like glass it. Yeah, they're just like, we're just gonna drop a bunch of bombs.
So many.
Instead of a nuke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, they killed my favorite girl boss and then made her fucking Cassian Andor.
It's fucked up.
It's so sad. But then it kind of goes on, you know, you're talking about the Corellian Treaty because Corellia was a signatory of the treaty to restore the Galactic Republic or some, whatever it's called. To put it bluntly, Mon Mothma began to take over, and this is his aide. Senator Bel Iblis was far better at strategy and tactics. Real Thrawn-coded. They're evenly matched. Better than many of the, you know, rebellion's generals and admirals in those early days. But she had the gift of inspiration, the knack of getting diverse groups and species to work together. Gradually, she became the most visible symbol of the rebellion, and Organa and the Senator increasingly relegated to the background. A, does this imply that Bail Organa and Garm Bel Iblis were not PC enough to be the face of the rebellion?
Yeah.
Were they just saying off-the-wall racist shit?
I mean...
And everyone was like, no, you gotta stop saying Bothans are evil, man. Like, it looks bad.
Yeah.
Stop talking shit about the Mon Call. Like,
yeah, or they just didn't have the same gift of public speaking as well.
Maybe. They are all senators.
Yeah. But,
presumably they'd all be kind of good at it.
Yeah, true.
But then I also, you know, Leia seems to be the love of everybody's life as like leader or as part of the council. Is it like a gendered thing? Is it like, are female senators more inclined to like be seen as caretakers or like a motherly figure? Is that what people are projecting onto Mon Mothma? And they refuse to project that onto men, or at least human men. Like, and then I also have, this is so Luthen coded.
It is.
It's so Luthen coded.
Yeah, sort of being an antagonist to Mon Mothma's
neoliberal ideologies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also awareness that rebellions are dirty work.
Yeah, it's like you can't censoring yourself in an effort to like be palatable to a fascist government, because that really seems to be what Mon Mothma does. Just by and large, she's still like Senator Mon Mothma in return, I think, or at least you know she was a senator in a way that like Leia is not. She's like wearing these like long white robes. She like wants to look very regal. And the most important part is that Bel Iblis says that he won't go to Mon Mothma like a beggar pleading to be let in because he's fucking 12.
He needs to be asked back.
He needs to be like, I need you to meet me at the gas station with the kids, and you need to tell me that you need me to take them for the weekend.
I need to be invited.
Maybe he's a vampire.
Maybe.
He needs to be invited in.
Interview with Garm Bel Iblis.
Define settler colonialism.
No. All right. Yeah, the Nogri. We meet them as, quote, the Emperor's private death commandos, and then we learn that they were maneuvered into being allied with the Empire after an ecological disaster struck their planet. The Empire intervened to help them get food to eat, and in return, they've been offering their, I don't know, is it just their sons, or is it sons and daughters? It's kind of hard to...
Just sons.
Yeah, as soldiers in the Empire's armed forces.
I have a really stupid question.
Yeah.
Is it the Empire, or is it Darth Vader, or is it the Emperor specifically?
I think it's specifically Darth Vader who is their lord that they have like particular
My lord.
allegiance to before he died.
Yeah, he do be dead.
He do be dead.
He do be dead as fuck.
Yeah, he introduced them to Grand Admiral Thrawn and said, "I'm too busy in the Empire. This is your lord now." But because of his involvement in helping to reconstruct their planet after ecological disaster, they still have a particular affection for him. Yeah.
He's weird.
Yeah.
Like off-putting.
They have a very reverent love of him, and because of his association with the Empire, are loyal to the Empire.
Okay.
So it's news to them, and I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, like, or I just have a question. How many people know about Darth Vader's rejection of the dark side before his death?
I think Luke might be the only one.
Yeah, well, Leia knows about it because she tells the Nogri about it.
Yeah, I mean, like that, it's kind of dubious. Is like Luke for sure, Leia most likely, Han maybe. But I can't remember which book it is, so we're gonna cut this out. But at some point, it is like a fucking thing that like Leia is the daughter of Anakin. It's like a scandal.
Interesting.
Maybe that is in Dark Empire.
Yeah.
Like Mara, I think at a certain point knows.
So it's not a matter of public knowledge.
No, but I think it's one of those things where it's like if you ask, you're just like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And Luke will be like, oh my god, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh my god, look at me. You want some hot chocolate? We can sit down and talk about this.
Yeah. But part of getting the Nogri to accept the idea of turning against the Empire was Leia informing them that it was the Emperor who was subverting Darth Vader, and that their Lord Vader learned of the Emperor's treachery before his death, and so it would be in keeping with their loyalty to Darth Vader to
not support Thrawn.
I
guess brings up some really interesting things about narrative, right? It's like, is that what happened?
Like what Leia said?
Yeah. So I watched Return of the Jedi. We watched it kind of recently.
Yeah.
It was definitely because Palpatine was like killing his kid.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I've seen the error of my ways. I feel bad for enslaving planets.
Which it was, maybe I've seen the error of my ways. My boss is like actively killing my child.
Yeah.
Who has been kept from me his entire life because I'm too evil.
In this instance, the truth isn't what matters.
I know, the truth
is never what matters. What matters here is how Leia is able to use a story of the truth to make the Nogri sympathetic to her. And
she's very good at propaganda.
She is very good at propaganda. And she's also very good at navigating their clan system and their values to leverage the fact that she is Darth Vader's daughter into having the Nogri even care to listen to what she has to say. Not only is it the fact that she's Darth Vader's daughter and that Darth Vader...
They do keep calling her Lady Vader.
Yeah, they
which
do.
Which is kind of crazy.
Lady Father.
Lady Dad.
Yeah. It's not...
What fucking language is that?
Veda? Dutch.
I know it's Dutch. It was the... What the fuck is Zoroastrianism? From the Seals Are Good video.
Oh, yeah.
I just think about it all the time.
I understand.
Jump, I will.
Yes, not high enough that was.
Destroy their planet, I will. Ecological disaster this will be.
Yeah. It's not just that she is Darth Vader's daughter that makes them reconsider. In fact, importantly, that is not relevant to them because they accept that, like the matriarch of Karabakh, the Nogri who discovers that Leia is the daughter of Vader. She acknowledges Leia's significance but refuses to shift her allegiances because of their reliance, the Nogri reliance on the Empire, and the obvious retaliation that the Empire would levy on them were they to shift their allegiances. The Nogri are beleaguered enough as it is. Leia has a crucial revelation, which is that the cause of the ecological disaster on this planet is not from a rebel ship. It's, in fact, during the rebellion, but it was, in fact, a disaster that occurred during the Clone Wars.
Was it the Clone Wars or the Hyperspace War?
It was 44 years previously before this.
The Hyperspace War was like 300 years before
the
movies, so
it was during the
Clone Wars.
During the Clone Wars.
The Clone War.
The Clone War, yes.
It's only one Clone War.
Yeah, but there are so many clones.
I'm a Clone Wars trooper.
It's the Clones War. The War of the Clones.
The War of the Clones.
The war where there were clones.
I am a Clone Wars truther. I believe there was more than one Clone War.
No way. And she gets clarity from the matriarch about the chronology of the environmental destruction. Leia and the matriarch are discussing the history of the planet. So Leia and the matriarch are discussing the history of environmental degradation on Honogar, and it is revealed that the planet has been bereft of edible vegetation for 44 years, 48 Noghri years, but in the years of the Emperor, 44. And Leia realizes that this did not happen during the rebellion, it happened during the Clone Wars. And why I really want to know the exact, because there's this particular way that the children of the Noghri became like forced conscripted commandos in the Empire's army.
Do you remember anything about it? I can look it up.
I remember that there was a crisis. The Empire came to the planet. There was a battle between the Noghri and the Empire. Leia assumes that the Empire would have massacred the Noghri during this battle, but only 3 of them die in the battle. And then after this, the Empire offers to assist the Noghri in getting food, but
We do not need more discord on Honogar, Lady Vader.
And in return for the Empire's assistance, the Noghri must give their sons to the Empire's army. I actually think that is an accurate summary. So I think we're
I'm
good.
just looking for the thing.
After the disaster, there were strange-smelling rains, and all plants except for holm grass withered and died. The Empire told you the ground had been poisoned with chemicals and from the destroyed ship, and offered machines to clean the soil for you. And you know all too well the price they demanded for those machines. And the ground is indeed poisoned. They can't grow food in any places on their planet. Nothing will grow except for colm grass. But Leia tests the colm grass and discovers that it is that plant is the reason behind there being the continued ecological instability of Honogar. Because the Empire took the colm grass and genetically modified it so that it would not allow anything else on the planet to grow.
They GMO'd the colm grass.
They GMO'd the colm grass, and
You speak wisdom, Lady Vader.
mhm.
No, I find that incredibly interesting.
Yeah,
Because it is like something that is transferred. It's something that's, I don't want to say reappropriated, but it's like a plot point that is continued, or I guess reinvigorated in the Disney canon. So, because I'm a Chris Kempshall fangirl, love that guy, 10 out of 10. In For a Safe and Secure Society on page 49, cultural imperialism and like ecological destruction are a much larger, I mean, not larger per se, but more child friendly, if that's a good way to put it.
palatable,
Not palatable.
approachable.
It's more text than subtext,
Oh, okay,
if that makes sense.
overt.
Overt. It is overt. It literally says a more overtly cultural imperialism also became prominent during the New Disney era. But so in Rebels, back to Rebels with my favorite hot Twi'lek baddie, who's not mentioned in this quote, but that's beside the point. Like the Thrawn of, he literally says the Thrawn of the new era bears much similarity with the previous, but his interest in collecting artwork from the cultures he's conquering is like reframed as being colonialist, which I personally would not argue that what he's doing in the Thrawn Trilogy is in 19th century anthropology.
Yeah.
Maybe some people do feel that way about his
They don't think that his
art
approach to art
endeavors?
is, I mean, because one thing is that his art, he doesn't seem to have an extensive art collection in this. He's looking at things on the hollow, but
on the HoloNet.
yeah.
But in Rebels,
But his engagement with things on the HoloNet is still colonial in the way that he talks about, in the way that he uses it in his battle tactics, quote unquote, you know.
I looked at this piece of art,
and now I know how Borsk-Phalia is going to turn against the rebellion.
It's like,
because I looked at Bothan art.
I wonder what Bothan art is like. But Kempshall continues to say that Thrawn like reassures Ezra Bridger, who is a native of the planet Lothal, that although Lothal will be shortly destroyed, that he has saved parts of its culture. And then Ezra responds by angrily criticizing Kron's sense of colonial privilege. You think you can take whatever you want, things you didn't make, didn't earn, things you don't even understand. You don't deserve to have this art or Lothal. And then Thrawn's interaction with the artwork of the people of Ryloth, which is where Twi'leks are from, a planet coded to represent a mix of Native American and South Asian cultures, follows the same lines, which I thought they were French. They have French accents, but they have the Frenchest of French accents.
Yeah.
Like, that's a TV thing, too.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I need that kind of movie, I guess.
I need that kind of movie. He collects the artwork as a representation of their culture and a tool through which he can better conquer them, which, although he becomes angry at another Imperial officer who believes it to be trash, his desire for these artifacts is not born out of respect, but rather through desire to collect and accumulate power. Which, like, that's what he's doing. That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what he does in the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah.
He's not wrong, but, like, I don't know, man. Being like, wahahaha, I looked at a piece of Mon Cal art, and now I know how to defeat these fish people. Derogatory.
Yeah.
Is like, it is cultural imperialism, but in addition to that, he's really given an anthropologist from 1880.
Also, similar to what I was saying about how the way the Empire uses the Noghri clan structure in order to, like, manipulate their sense of honor in respecting Vader here. It's interesting because the way Thrawn responds to Kabarach going AWOL and finding out that he is omitting some facts about what occurred in the month that he was gone. He refuses to follow the Noghri standard of, like, public shaming when someone has been dishonest. And the Matriarch pushes back and says, you are disrespecting our values. And Thrawn says, I will respect your values when it is good for me, and I will disrespect them when it is good for me. So
yeah,
they're like, he has the power to operate on two, like, legal and cultural systems when one benefits him. And
it's really British coded.
It's very British coded, and which
obviously imperial.
Yeah.
The Empire, not the UK now.
Yeah, no. It's very much also, like, reminiscent of my very hazy recollection of learning about treaties made between First Nations of, like, what is now called Canada and like the British settlers here, where they would make treaties and make a whole show of understanding reciprocity in order for the indigenous peoples to agree to these terms, but obviously not mean a single word of what they were saying.
I know. The Crown knows it all.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not, indigenous people don't still own these lands. And that's, like, an issue out in BC because they stopped doing treaties, you know?
Yeah,
like,
no, it's unceded territory.
They literally just stole it.
Yeah. And so what I want to talk about here is the fact that the Empire intentionally has kept the Noghri starving and being their sole source of food so that they can leverage their imperial power over them. And there are a myriad of real life examples of this. I'm pulling from an article called Unsettling Settler Food Movements, Food Sovereignty and Decolonization in Canada by Zoe Matties from 2016, where, she talks about how food is weaponized as a tool of colonization. And she puts forward food sovereignty as a corrective to the disruption of indigenous foodways imposed by Western colonial, gendered, and racialized foodways. And
could you elaborate on what that means? Are we talking like ag?
Yeah, agriculture, and also, I guess, also notions of land and property, and also the disruption of hunting and subsistence farming practices.
Okay.
Like, a great example from that, in like the American context, is the destruction of the buffalo population in the West. And then also in Canada, we have
Mormons.
Yeah, fucking Mormons, also trains. Also in Canada, there's the devastation of the caribou population. And in both of these contexts, it's not just that, food is being taken, which is crucial, but also the cultural memory tied to the practices of eating, hunting, and preserving buffalo and caribou are less accessible because of that, like, cultural devastation. Like, the destruction of the caribou population in Canada is talked about as like a form of cultural genocide because of that loss. And I think that's something also interesting to think about in terms of the Nogri. Like, it's not just that, like, obviously the material ramifications of not having food are significant, especially because that is what keeps them in this debt bondage to the empire. But also, this is a very, like, serious cultural loss. And it's interesting.
No, I mean, I find it really interesting, like, and there, it also raises the questions of, like, how does, I don't want to say globalized because it's bigger than globalized, but, like, obviously Coruscant's not producing food. Ord Mantell might not be producing food. It's like, when you have these, and it's a similar thing here, you know, people won't stop buying Russian wheat. It's like, how does that work? You know, how much food can you use, like, locally? Can you subsist off of things that you grow? Because, I mean, unlike Earth, you know, this might have been going on for 25,000 years. Is like, are we getting hyper specialized at, like, agriculture? I know from other things, namely rebels. I hate that I'm just like, rebels, always rebels. It's like they specifically are like going, there's an episode where they go and look for this fruit. It's like very rare fruit. And they're like, it's only imported. It's imported fruit. But we really need it. And it's like a getting the kids out of the fucking house kind of episode. It's pretty funny. But, like, how does that work? You know, and then you have these, like, what's the wealth disparity like then? Like, do you have people farming on Alderaan before it's blown up? So rip to all the farmers that died on Alderaan.
Prayers up for the Alderaanian farmers.
Are they being adequately compensated? Are they, like, in Andor, there's, like, migrant farmers, and it's that sea of wheat. Is all of the wheat grown on one planet?
Maybe.
Are they rotating crops?
Probably not. That's a huge issue.
Because, like, no wonder the fucking Nogri homeworld fell apart. You're not rotating the crops.
Well, the Nogri fell apart because of acid rain.
Well, but you could, when you have more diversity in the soil. Like, obviously, they GMO'd grass to kill all of the stuff. So the GMO grass, like, is specifically targeting their crops, right? It's like, does that happen in other places? If there's, like, a blight, is it, like, does it disrupt the entire food system in the Republic, Empire, or New Republic? What happens if there's a blockade? What happens on Naboo? Are there poor people on Naboo?
They don't show them.
Like, where are they getting their food from? How does this blockade affect food security in the rest of the Republic? Why don't people care? Are most plants self-sustainable enough that it doesn't really matter?
I don't know. It's
because, like, we get one ship stuck in the Strait of Tiran and fucking the whole world loses its mind. Like,
I don't know. I don't have an answer to these questions.
Does anybody?
No.
They should hire me to write a book.
They should.
About agriculture.
About agriculture in the galaxy far, far away.
About the history of agriculture.
Well, because the other thing that's, like, even, like, it's interesting that, like, regardless of whether or not food can be grown on Honogar, like, the Empire still keeps them, like, just above starvation levels.
Yeah. Like, that's fucking, like, and obviously that's on purpose, but you think these people, like, their sons are going out. They're like, oh my god, we're going on all these planets, there's all this fucking food. Like, are they killed? Are the sons killed after they're done in their service?
I don't know.
And not, like, blaming the Nogri for not knowing that they're, like, getting the short end of the stick. It's just not brought up enough, considering the book is kind of about, I don't know.
Well, it's also that I think even if their sons are seeing that the availability of food in the rest of the galaxy, I don't know, like, most likely Nogri commandos in the Imperial Armed Forces are not able to be promoted. They're quite disposable, except for with the exception of Rook, Thrawn's personal bodyguard.
He is murdered in Rebels, though.
That sucks. I love him.
He's dead.
Why?
Just like Hobby. Hobby dies at Hoth.
This is just terrible news.
I'm sorry.
God. Well,
they
anyway,
do some good things.
I believe you. Anyway, moving on. It's like, still, well, they don't have much institutional power or, like, access to, like, any way to change the flow of commerce in the Empire, and probably view...
That's not what I mean, though.
Okay, then what do you mean?
Like, oh, I got shore leave, let me go tell my mom that there's actually fucking food and they've been lying to us.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that's happened.
No.
Which seems...
That's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do they not get to go home and visit their parents? Other than this one time in this book? Like, that... And that seems weird, if that's the case.
Yeah. It is weird that like Thrawn is upset that Karabakh was missing for a month, but not upset that like he didn't report to base after leaving Kashyyyk. He went to his home world. Like I don't like what soldier can do that. Just like, oh, failed operation. I'm gonna go
talk to my mommy.
Yeah, like obviously we know why he's doing that, but from Thrawn's perspective, he's just sort of like
not very good OPSEC.
Huh?
Not very good OPSEC.
Not a good optic, no.
No, it's like, damn, Thrawn, you can't even keep track of your fucking weird little assassin guys?
Yeah, come on, dude.
Also, does Mara know about them? Are they also not considered equivalent to her? Okay, you're the Emperor's hands.
His unnatural fingies.
Lightning comes out of them. And then you have the Nogri, which are like Darth Vader's equivalent of the Emperor's hands.
Yeah. Although I think one thing that's distinct about them is that they don't do espionage the way that Mara does, and also they are not force sensitive. And that's a crucial aspect of Mara's relationship to the Emperor.
I was just talking about there being more than one of them.
Just
like if Darth Vader's got 67 guys, and the Emperor's like, no, you're my only espionage assassin person. My spy assassin. Just seems like nobody's doing critical thinking. Do these people know how to read? Does Coruscant have compulsory education?
Fantastic question.
Because it does not seem like Mara Jade can read. Or deduce.
No.
Or add. Or look at a map.
Why that?
Presumably she had a room, right?
A room where?
In the palace.
Yeah. Oh, look at a palace map and see that there are like
there are other rooms?
Well, yeah. I mean, she doesn't know who's in those rooms.
Why wouldn't she go check?
The palace is big. Like
she seems to have a lot of free time.
Yeah.
To think about how much she wants to kill Luke Skywalker. Maybe she should like
Wait, in what time are you
both.
wanting her? Okay, whatever.
Because she still like doesn't really believe it, right? She's like, how dare you presume that I wasn't the only fucking hand? All of those other women at court, they were whores. They weren't spy assassins.
I'm
like
not like
me.
other girls.
Yeah,
I'm a spy assassin. Everyone else is a whore.
Even though I'm also playing the part of whore.
Yeah. That's really bad critical thinking skills, actually. But I feel like also the reason why Imperial Condition, I think, was so effective on Mara was because she needs to be special and cannot consider the alternative.
It's just like me.
And I anticipate that one of the reasons why I know she and Luke get married, it's fine that I know that, because that's common knowledge if this is the kind of shit you
not
read with
to
your
George
life.
Lucas.
Well, yeah, is presumably it doesn't seem that Luke treats her exactly like she's special yet, but because she is one of the few force-sensitive people left in the galaxy, like, she'll at least get some level of affirmation.
And then she gets treated special because he be fucking her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What
I
better
see your
way?
line of thought.
Yeah.
They have children.
Yeah.
Which then makes her the mother of his child.
Yeah.
It's like a kind of miraculous birth, I've heard, as well.
That's interesting.
We live a disabled queen. Most people don't like that, I've heard.
Now, allow me to intellectualize, what is it called when people write fiction? Fan fiction. I'm intellectualizing fan fiction.
People do that.
People do that. This is the article that I read. Wasn't the intellectual?
There's people have done their dissertations on
I've
that.
found some.
I know.
Yeah. Thrawn and Pellaeon have an interesting relationship, and one of the thoughts that I had when I was reading this book is that it really reminds me of Sherlock Holmes and John Watson. They existed in the periphery of popular culture for me, but it was really the 2010 BBC Sherlock series that made me think regularly about them. I didn't understand the internet, so as a child, so I am not steeped in John Locke shipping to a deep degree, although at the time I did know it was happening. I feel like I'm Obama saying, like, I didn't inhale the marijuana when it was passed to me.
I read Karl Marx because I wanted to fuck a girl.
Yeah, I was just exposed to John Locke through cultural osmosis. But why does this matter for Thrawn and Pellaeon? And why do I think it's interesting that Thrawn is so Sherlock-y? Because someone is coldly rational and performs a lot of deductive reasoning, that doesn't necessarily make him Sherlock Holmes. But I think Sherlock looms large in my mind as a trope of, or a representation of, I guess what I'm getting to, Victorian masculinity, and this sort of construction of the ideal man as intellectual, controlled, impermeable. But I thought that Sherlock, at least, I thought he was a sort of an interesting avenue to consider the construction of Thrawn's masculinity, and also in relationship to Pellaeon, and also the way that like both of these duos are interpreted as having homoerotic relationships with each other in
Because men can't be friends.
fanfiction. Yes, that, but I think it's fun to like compare the way that their ships work because of the relationship that they have with each other.
I've never read Thrawn Pellaeon fanfiction.
I read a bunch of it last night, and boy golly.
But I do know about Thronto.
Yeah. No, but I don't know who Eli Vanto is yet.
No, you don't.
I don't know who that is.
Crazy that you parsed out Eli Vanto from me saying I read a bunch of Thronto fanfiction. You don't even know who Uncle Vac is.
I'm a poser. I shouldn't be doing this.
I'm telling my mom.
No.
And she'll call you a poser.
That would actually.
But then you can wait. No, I can't say that.
Why not?
Well, now I don't own any band shirts unless I know their entire discography.
Did your mom call you a poser as a child? If you.
No, I wasn't allowed to buy band shirts unless I could name 3 songs.
That's
and if it was really popular, it like couldn't be off their most popular album. Like
that's kind of iconic, and also explains a lot. Sorry.
Get fucked. So the first band shirt I ever bought was in Ill Communication.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to name 3 songs off of Ill Communication, specifically.
You had to pass a test.
I had to pass a test to buy a t-shirt in fucking Hot Topic.
So anyway, what a lot of my thoughts about like Sherlock and Victorian masculinity that I'm like mapping onto Thrawn comes from this article, "The White Man at the Center of the World: Masculinity in Sherlock" by Judith May Fathallah from 2017. The center of analysis is like the BBC Sherlock show from 2010, but the author traces the presentation of masculinity in this show to, of course, like the Victorian era source text, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And I got to thinking about the parallels between John Locke and...
His name is John Locke?
No, it's the ship for Sherlock and...
Is John Locke?
Is John
Locke.
The
classical liberal...
Yeah, him.
Philosopher?
Yeah. And what's the ship name for Thrawn and Pellaeon? Oh, it's Prawn. That's what I saw that.
Oh, is that why he's drawn as...
A prawn?
Yeah.
Maybe. That would be fun. I also think that's just a fun pun. But the thing that got me thinking about this is the fact that we never hear Thrawn's internal monologue. He's only ever narrated by like Pellaeon's perception of him, and that is the same structure as like the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, like the short stories by Arthur Conan Doyle, where everything is through Watson's perspective. The positioning of Watson as like Sherlock's intellectual inferior, and how Sherlock is basically almost always hand-holding Watson through his thought process, but nevertheless Watson is still like integral through his like crime-solving progress. Like he says that it's like important to him to have someone with a mundane mind around him so that he can be in touch with how other people think. And this is never like articulated by Thrawn to Pellaeon, but sort of the quasi teacher-student relationship that I think Pellaeon sort of resents, because he's a high up man in the Imperial Armed Forces. He doesn't like to feel like he's being left in the dark, but oftentimes Thrawn is having thought processes and plans.
He's scheming.
Scheming
and plotting.
Scheming and plotting.
He always schemes and plots.
Always schemes and plots, and often his plots are quite subtle and complicated and intricate, and Pellaeon just sort of feels like a passenger in this admittedly brilliant but impenetrable man's orbit. And what's interesting also is that like both of these relationships are, as I've said, like interpreted in fanfiction as homoerotic. Pellaeon's like observations of Thrawn's like physical presence, like when we first meet, like Pellaeon observing Thrawn, like he makes note of like his eyes and Thrawn's glittering hair, and then like Watson describes Sherlock while he's speaking when they first meet, quote, "His eyes fairly glittered as he spoke." Sherlock is also described as hot in A Study in Scarlet, with his height, leanness, and sharp and piercing eyes, and the strong chin that marks the man of determination. And this article just talks about how like Sherlock's characterization is sort of supposed to be epitome of hyper-intellectual Victorian masculinity, which is, as I said, like impermeable, lean physical form, the separation of mind and body, with the mind always having control over the untrustworthy body. But it's also, what's interesting is yeah, what I said is like there is a queerness haunting Victorian England, a queerness of the erudite homophilia intellectual movement in Oxford, which draws on the romantic with a capital R obsession with classical Greece, which was mined for a semblance of homosexual heritage, but also was basically just an intellectualization of aestheticization of sexual desire. It's interesting to contrast that sort of like queer undercurrent of Victorian masculinity with the rejection of bodily wants at the same time. The fact of intellectual and like removed nature of like constructions of Victorian masculinity is also interesting in like the obviously Victorian England's like colonial context, and then putting Thrawn into conversation here as like an ideal imperial man, as well educated. And
Is Thrawn the ideal imperial man, though?
What is the ideal imperial man?
Probably not fucking blue.
Well, no, but like I think he has to like
overcorrect. Okay.
Yeah, to like participate in colonial power and to like to objectify the cultures that he like collects and destroys.
I mean, we also just like not to out ourselves. We did spend a lot of time yesterday on Tumblr looking at Thrawn fan art.
We did do that.
And Chiss fan art.
And it's fascinating.
Some hot Chiss OCs.
Yeah.
I'm not a Borskphalia apologist, but I do think it's weird the way that the New Republic is like, wow, we've solved space racism, which I did bring up last time, and I'll probably bring up every single time I talk about this forever, because it's very weird. It's like you claim to be an anti-racist society, or at least a non-racist society, coming from the people that are so racist they're racist towards other humans.
Hello.
Or an anti-xenophobic society, I guess would be the more
in-universe appropriate
correct term, because they're not a race, they're a species.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. I said both of them. And several things stood out to me as I read through this one. Mostly that, like, Han really hates Bothans. Garm Iblis really doesn't fuck with Bothans. Leia makes some really weird comments about Bothans. Basically, everyone's just like, oh, those damn fucking Bothans. Like, again.
Mm-hmm.
And it all seems to stem from, like, their perception of Fathallah and how he is insane. Like, he's evil. He's very evil. I'm not saying he's not evil. But, like, you can't be like, wow, every Bothan is exactly like Borskphalia. Oh my god, this Bothan that's not even from Bathwahi, exactly like Borskphalia. Which really got me thinking, because, like, I mean, they say shit like, but that's Bothans for you. Give them a sniff of the soup pot and they climb all over each other to be in charge of the ladle. Like, that's such a batshit thing to say. Which really like, is. Kind of goes back to the point where where I was like, is Garm Iblis like not PC enough to be the head of to be the face of the rebellion? That's an off-the-wall thing to say.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Or like, Han and Senna are having a conversation at some point, and Senna says, you know, yes, that's unfortunately another typical Bothan move. A Bothan leader who stumbles is invariably jumped on by all of those who want to take over his position. In the distant past, the attacks were literal, knives and usually death. Now it's been modified to more of a verbal assassination. Progress, I suppose.
That's wild.
And I think, you know, this is Han saying, you know, see, what got you into trouble here was trying to play politics by Bothan rules. That bank thing made Akbar look bad, so like any good Bothan, you jumped on him. Trouble is, no one else jumped on you, so you were left there all alone with your neck stuck way out and your political reputation on the line. You don't know how to back out gracefully, and you figured the only way to salvage your prestige is to make sure Akbar goes down. Which, you know, that is more pointed, but like, you were trying to play by Bothan rules, is like, and like, at the end of this book, Fathallah is like, yeah, bitch, you're all under arrest. How dare you try to go against what I want as someone who is very actively trying to frame someone else on the council for like fucking treason. And Wedge is literally like, I'm sorry, counselor, but I don't understand how that can be. Our orders came from Counselor Leia Organa Solo. And then Fathallah literally responds with, these orders came directly from Mon Mothma. So then going back to the kind of like Garm Iblis, Mon Mothma clashing, I guess, is like maybe Mon Mothma there's a group of people like Mon Mothma in real life, I guess is the best way to put that. And I will use that in an effort to not get canceled by the one person who listens to this. Is like you have this kind of ideology that manifests in using racially charged stereotypes while claiming that doing so is not at all like the fascist ideology they claim to subvert. And at least on Earth, in real life, it usually manifests with like 1 to 2 groups being acceptable scapegoats. And then in that, it being acceptable scapegoats, the kind of like, oh, they don't understand. Their culture is so different. You can't judge this leader of a country that's actively committing a massacre because their country just functions differently. Which is not to say the countries don't function differently. There's different government styles. I'm not saying there's not. And I don't think that everyone needs to abide by like Western styles of government and like neoliberal understandings of what is correct or a good thing. But like, I literally said there seems to be an understanding of like, that's just the way that these people are and there's nothing we can do to change that. While Fathallah himself does seem to be a concerningly shitty person, Bel, Iblis, and Solo seem to understand that this is the case for every individual Bothan, even if they're not from Bathwahi. Going back to that first point. I'll use the War on Terror as an example, because I think that's a good thing. Not the War on Terror. Good example, not good thing that happened. Is like, so 9/11 happens, right? Osama bin Laden, objectively a shitty guy. Bombing embassies is not cool. Causing millions of people to get cancer from asbestos, not fucking cool. So not cool. I mean, his family disowned him before that. But, you know, this man who's been disowned by his family goes out and starts this, you know, this extremist group. And then for the next 20 fucking years, every conservative is like, oh, all of these people, that we can't let them into the country, whatever country that may be, whether that be the UK, Canada, the United States, because all Muslims are evil. And like, obviously that's not the case, you know, but then you have this, I don't want to say an overcorrection, but now when you have leaders of countries, not just countries that have majority Muslim populations, but countries that, you know, maybe are formerly a part of the Ottoman Empire or are in Central Asia, or Russia's a really good example where like, what Russia's doing in Ukraine is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it doesn't mean all Russians are bad, but like, you do get these excuses from a certain group of people who are very mama-coded, where they're like, oh, wait, no, like, they just can't help that. By nature of being, at one point, the Soviet Union, like, Ukraine belongs to Russia, and we can't judge them for that. We can't allow Ukraine to, like, exercise its right to be an independent state because the Soviet Union collapsed literally a year before this book came out. I think it, like, more so applies to diaspora groups. It's like when COVID started, people were like, oh, wow, like, time to be really racist to anyone who is part of the Chinese diaspora, because there was a fucking epidemic that turned into a pandemic. Like, plagues, they do be happening sometimes. But, you know, and then when someone does something seemingly negative abroad from their home country, is that these like Mon Mothma coded groups, and also fascists, because fascists are a very real thing, will use the actions of an individual to inform their understanding of the entire diaspora group, basically. One argues that the group should be wholly removed, if not killed. And the other one argues that there's nothing that you can do to like change like in these people, which is an insane way to talk about people in general. It's an insane way to talk about Bothans in Star Wars. It's like, okay, yeah, Fathallah is a piece of shit, but you know, when Han and Lando are talking about the Bathwahi or the Bothan ambassador, they're like, oh yeah, she's not from Bathwahi, but she's still a fucking Bothan, you know. And it disproportionately does impact people that are born in diaspora, as they may grow up feeling like they either have to prove everyone wrong about the entire group all the time for their entire lives, or they will never be able to prove themselves as individuals, so what is the point? It's like, you don't give people space to be individuals. Not that I'm a classical liberal circle jerker, right? The community is also important, is you don't allow them to be in your community. These people who, you know, may have not been raised in the place that you say is evil, and all of the people from that place are evil. And it's like, well, you're being really shitty to the people who weren't even born there, just happen to be of descent. And this, you know, kind of does go back to Kempshall's claim that the only beings who view alien cultures as monocultures are humans. And this is like not in an effort to delegitimize the role of an individual's upbringing on their worldview, Nor is it a plea for Western or human values to be the norm in our world or the galaxy far, far away. These cultures, like our cultures, are diverse, and that is a good thing.
Yeah.
It is good to have like a multiplicity of ideas in any society, no matter what kind of society that is.
Yeah.
There are no hive minds, at least not yet, in our reality or the galaxy far, far away that we know of. And like Thrawn himself presents a really interesting diversion from this, because Thrawn is like in the echelons of this fascist society, and Kempshall also talks about Admiral Dalla, who is in the Jedi Academy trilogy, I learned.
Oh.
Yeah. Woman.
Oh.
There's a woman.
Whoa.
It's like, he's presumably the only Chiss all of these people have ever met.
Yeah.
They have never met any other Chiss. I know that, like, there's some SWTOR stuff or whatever. Keep seeing pictures of Chiss bartenders in the Old Republic. As far as we know, it's either been an insanely long time since the Chiss have had contact with these people. I mean, they are humanoid, so presumably they descend from the mitochondrial Eve of the galaxy far, far away, as do a lot of species like Twi'leks, and there's a bunch of them. Dathmorians, and then the people with the spikes. Deveronians. But also Dathmorians, the witches, are near human. And then, like, you have this either de facto or de jure, depending on who you ask, anti-alien bias that is present in the Empire and the Imperial military, but he is seen as exceptional. He is a Grand Admiral, which presumably means he didn't get murdered by he obviously didn't get murdered by the Emperor for being non-human. He was allowed, because of his superior tactical, fucking whatever.
His superior intellect.
His superior intellect and his ability to, think about art.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Well, I mean, also his willingness to turn imperial logic on others.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he is, like, very complicit in this fascist system, but it doesn't lead his subordinates to speculate that every single Chiss that has ever existed is exactly like Thrawn.
Yeah.
At least to us. Like, at least to our knowledge. Maybe they do this, and we just don't know about it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, but that isn't to say that, like, assumptions about monocultures or groups of people all acting the same isn't also a part of imperial logic, because, like, that's basically...
It is. Yeah.
Like...
I'm not saying it's not, but, like, Thrawn is the exception to this because he is so exceptional.
Yeah. What you were talking about in terms of just sort of giving up on some cultures as, like, incapable of understanding or developing, like, or conforming to Western values. It reminded me a lot of this article by Susan Okin called "Is Multiculturalism Bad for Women?" Or "Is Multiculturalism Bad for Feminism?" One of the two.
Yeah.
Where
I remember that article.
Yeah. Where basically she's arguing that, like, in accommodating other cultures, other meaning, like, non-white, non-Western in Islam, yeah. It means Islam.
Letting people be Muslim.
Yeah, letting people be Muslim in North America or Europe or Australia or New Zealand. So just basically, like, settler states of...
This is Japan as the West erasure.
I mean, this article is a stupid one, because it's basically just saying, like, we can't accommodate, like, diverse cultures because lest the rights of white women be erased. You know?
Yeah. And it's always about either white people or humans.
Yeah.
Like, it's always about how Borsk Feli is fucking over Mon Mothma by virtue of accusing Akbar of corruption, and never how does this affect the Mon Cal population?
Yeah.
How does this affect the Trout population?
It's important. Also, I'm thinking also about Leia's internal monologue when she's among the Nogri, when she has, like, a thought to herself because she sees one of the Nogri children has, like, darker skin than other Nogri, and she's like, are there diverse races among the Nogri, or do they just have different colors at different stages of development? It seems to, like, never have crossed her mind that, like, the Nogri aren't monolithic.
Yeah.
Like, Leia still, like, we love Leia, but she's still very much
indoctrinated by the system.
Yeah.
No, it is very much like that article is, like, I think, kind of writing off the entirety of the Bothan species as per the actions of one incredibly shitty man.
Yeah.
Or
male.
I don't know how gender works for Bothans.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
We should
Nobody fucks in the galaxy far, far away, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine.
Except for Han Solo. just a disclaimer, I mean, we don't see the opinions of other Grand Admirals regarding Thrawn, at least in this, I don't think. But if we look at real-life examples, we can assume they're probably not speculating on that if his culture is blessed in tactical matters. It's more likely that they either write him off as a diversity hire, or they think that he is also the exception among his people. Hence why the Imperial military does not have squadrons of Chiss fighters or tacticians.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, like, if the Chiss homeworld was, like, a part of the galaxy far, far away, or, like, if there were more Chiss, like, is the reason that, like, they don't assume that all, or they don't, it doesn't even bear thinking about, like, what all Chiss are like, is just because he's the only one? Or is it...
I mean, here we are.
Yeah.
Sitting thinking about Thrawn.
Yeah.
And we allegedly don't know any other Chiss.
Certainly not.
Certainly not. I've never heard...
Yeah.
I don't even know what Chiss are. I don't even know what their homeworld is.
I don't know. I don't know I'm very unfamiliar with the phrase common among warriors. I certainly don't know someone with a sweatshirt with that embroidered on it.
It looks like a 6-year-old did it. No, I think, like, you know, presuming that all Bothans are all Mon Calamari, or even all humans, because, like, and also, the quick side note is, like, this does not underscore the fact that there, like, are no black people. Lando is the only black person.
Yeah, like, what's with that?
It's like, all of these people are white. Maybe Gavin Darklighter's not white.
Maybe.
But yeah, Gavin Darklighter doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, we don't know him.
So, Lando is the only black person. And that is weird.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did not think Talon Card was white.
Interesting.
Which is why I don't like comics.
Yeah.
I don't know,
I didn't think about his race.
Well, me either.
Yeah.
So, like,
because Star Wars is so white, like, I just tend to assume.
Yeah.
Unless I've seen them in a movie.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, all of these people aren't real anymore anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, that is, like, genuinely a problem. It's been written about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I can include stuff in the further reading if people want to read about how white Star Wars is. Sometimes to a fault. Both the whiteness and the articles.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very white. And, you know, there is the historical precedent, I'm saying this as a white person, obviously, but, like, of using aliens to discuss race when it's not acceptable to discuss race on screen. And, like, it wasn't acceptable to discuss queerness in the EU stuff. I don't really know what, you know, I don't have access to their dossier of, like, what was and wasn't acceptable to write about race in the 90s. Maybe it's something that wasn't thought of. Maybe it's something that it was like, don't talk about. I mean, because this is, like, what, in the wake of the LA riots?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it is just very, like, obviously all of these people are white people. I kind of also just assumed that, like, on top of being anti-alien, that the Empire was also a white supremacist state, which Disney has since, I guess, retracted. Which is cool, I guess. But, like, then it raises the question of, like, okay, you include minorities, but you make them evil. Is, like, you now have this issue because there is so much screen time spent on looking at the rebellion, and the rebellion in the films is very white. It's like, you know, there's Lando. The kind of, everyone's yellow, and then there's Lando's Lego.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, well, now you have decided as a company to be like, we're going to be more inclusive. Except the only place we can make more inclusive, because of how much screen time has been spent on the rebellion, is the Empire. So now all of these people who are either black or Asian, or all these people get treated like shit by fans.
Yeah.
Like, the fans are very racist. But, like, okay, well, now they're all fascists.
Yeah.
But, like, what you are implying here is that anyone who's not white is a fascist.
Yeah, and that's...
Which is another wild thing to say, or imply. And then a lot of the stuff about the rebellion at this point is animated.
Yeah.
Except Ezra Bridger is a very Jewish name.
Yeah, it
Finally,
is.
not stereotypical depictions of Jews in Star Wars. That's crazy.
Not very stereotypical depictions of Jews in Star
Ezra
Wars.
is just a normal guy and not Watto.
That's beautiful.
And isn't an alien that owns slaves. But yeah, like, obviously there should be more diversity. I don't know. I had some of the newer books, Alphabet Squadron, which I won't make you read because there's 10 X-Wing books. You don't need to make that 13 Top Gun books. is like they have tried to, I guess, include more people, but even a lot of those people are former Imperials.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's just like, okay, is this just a human supremacist organization? Because in the films, it looks like a human and white supremacist organization. It's like, not only are we human supremacist,
The Empire.
the Empire. The Empire is also racist on top of being human supremacist.
Because that's what we did last time.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was our discussion of Dark Force Rising.
I love how these discussions are not actually discussions about the book.
No, but I think that's...
We're
I mean, like,
intellectualizing.
yeah,
Timothy's on.
that's what we're doing. I think it's deepening, like, my relationship with these books to, like, think about connections between the themes and, like, the real world.
Well, the anti-Bothan racism is the reason that I
wanted to do this.
Wanted to do this in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anti-Bothan sentiment.
Yeah.
Not in my house.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, but those things are...
You're allowed to
hate an individual and not apply that to their entire group.
Species.
Yeah.
Wow, isn't that so fucking crazy?
Imagine.
Well, so next time we're going to cover The Last Command. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
Still going to avoid to talk...
Maybe we'll talk about Mara Jade.
Probably not.
Yeah.
We can talk about her once we finish all of the Thrawn books.
And read Hand of Thrawn?
And read Hand of Thrawn.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So we're going to do The Last Command next. It's going to be great. Is it? Maybe. I'll probably talk more about the perception of Bothans.
Yeah, we'll see how Borskvalia reacts to being publicly humiliated by saying crazy things about the role of soldiers.
Yeah, he does just say the craziest shit in all of the land.
He really does.
But that does not mean that all Bothans are evil.
Indeed, it does not.
I don't know. There's stuff in the show notes. You can follow us on Bluesky, because allegedly we have a Bluesky now. I'm just saying this so Lenny makes the Bluesky account.
I'm being... What is this? It's entrapment. No,
it's not entrapment. Me getting a recording of you saying you're going to read all of the new Jedi Order books is entrapment.
Yeah, it was.
But start thinking about wanting to kill Luke Skywalker, I guess.
Yeah. And what does it mean to hear voices if there's the Force? Does that matter?
Do they have mental health professionals?
Ooh, I don't know. They do have applied linguistics, though.
Do they?
Yeah, it's, like, mentioned in this book. When Leia and, like, 3PO are talking about, like, translating the Nokri language.
Join us next time on Interview with a Bothan. Music by Thomas Seibel. Our art is by our glorious leader, Lenny.